Okay, seeing how I've been getting a lot of questions about Archer lately, I've decided to make a quick guide on what you should be doing with your new Archer and what skills you should be using, and how you should be using your character for general PvP aspects. So we're just talking like grinding, maybe doing a boss here and there and stuff like that. So first of all, we're going to look at the skills. Now, skills, as you know, your skill attributes come from your runes. And early on, it's going to be harder to hit the 200 skills that you see that I have here. But there are some skills that you do not need in order to grind effectively. Your biggest boons in damage are going to be green multi-shot, which just allows the arrows to fire all at once, and gray gale dash. Other notables are going to be quiver, charge, and with these three skills, which only turns out to be 70 points, you should be able to grind effectively. Now, in order to do bosses and other things, there are some other skills you can add to make things easier. One would be purple rapid fire, which just is a better standard rapid fire, as well as blue wind trap, which is going to be your heal. Now, the other things you can add are arrow rain, which will allow you to do additional damage during your AoE grind session, but it isn't necessary, and I would suggest using this one more for dungeons, as well as blue shock also makes the target take more damage. Now, next over, we'll go over our mana trees. With our mana trees, there are, as you can see, I'm already level 56. However, with less points, you just get less of the basic imprints. So I wouldn't really worry about how many points I have here and just go for something basic. So one of the biggest boons is going to be your destruction skill. So that changes your T ability, which allows you to do 30% more increased damage after you use it. The key imprints you should use are Scholar, Precise, and Cycle. Precise is more of a, I don't have enough accuracy, and if this is your first character or you're just starting out, you probably want this because you can also use this mana tree to kill bosses. Cycle, to get back energy, right? And then Scholar is just skill points, right? You can never have too many skill points. The next one would be Mortar Strike. Now, Mortar Strike just increases your projectile damage, which on Archer is your main source of damage. Next is going to be Masterful Magic, and since you know that all of Archer's attacks are all magic damage, as you can see here, Multi-Shot is light and piercing projectile, and your Wind Force Arrow is nature. Now, for the Transcendent imprints, there are several choices here, and a lot of these aren't necessary. The two necessary ones, I would say, are Snipe, to increase your projectile damage, and Magic Aggregation. These two are necessary and will add huge damage to your Archer. Following those, other notable choices that if you have the points and wish to spend a little bit more are Courage Aura, but this is more of a, I'm only doing it for bosses, as well as Support Bombing. These two, again, aren't necessary. As you can see, even in this build, I don't even have Courage Aura, and I just put in Support Bombing to try it out. But Magic Aggregation is necessary to regen your mana, and Snipe is just extra damage. For your basic imprints, mainly I would always level these two. Main Stats and Versatility, and that's going to increase your damage just straight up. Down here at the bottom, this is going to be your most important one, Stamina Recovery. While max stamina is equally important, stamina recovery is just very good to have. Way, way stronger than max stamina. Max stamina increases your pool, while stamina recovery increases how fast you regen. And when you see me grinding here in a second, you'll see that the reason why stamina recovery is more important than max stamina. Other notables that the more points you have, the more you can go down are Acceleration, Critical Hit Accuracy, and increased max weapon attack. Increased critical power is good as well. I've been staying away from min weapon attack and magic pierce, but if I had extra points, which, I mean, even at mana level 56, I don't right now, I would probably get min weapon attack next, and then maybe magic pierce. But again, they're not necessary. I'm probably going to focus on leveling up stamina just for a convenience thing. Next over, we will go over gear. So as you can see here, I am rocking 5 pieces sharp with 2 breakthroughs. Again, not everyone's going to have the breakthroughs, so it's not the most important thing. If you had to focus one, I would focus on the offhand and try to get max attack on any pieces you get. So the 3 pieces you can get max attack on are your weapon, your offhand, and your gloves. And then critical power is another good stat, and you can get this on your helm as well. So your helm and your 2 weapons can both have critical power. But again, do what you can here. The goal of getting your character when you're starting out is just basic gearing. I wouldn't be like, oh, I can't use this. I would try to get a +8 set in every slot. As you can see here, I have +8 gear, which might not be the best in every slot. So I did mention I am using 5 pieces of sharp senses. I'm actually in the transition of going from 5 pieces to sharp senses to 4 pieces of sharp senses with 2 pieces of swiftness. As you can see here, I have a +10 swiftness bow that I'm trying to reroll at purple before I take it to legendary in order to use 2 pieces swiftness and 4 pieces sharp. Again, this character is only for grinding. I'm not using it. I have a warlord that I use for PvP. As far as your runes go, skill points are king here. I would do skill points, and then if you can't get skill points, I would try to get something like max energy is bad, maybe stamina increase is okay, accuracy is going to be okay, but your quiver, which we talked about earlier, the purple quiver, adds 50 accuracy. So accuracy is not as important as you would think. Just like acceleration or anything. But ideally, you want to go skill points. Now, if you can't get the skill points ones, again, just try to always work towards it. Like level up runes. As you can see here, I have several extra yellows that I've been leveling up in order to just make another skill point rune. Now, when you're going for your runes, the key thing here is changing your slots. Now, my choice, which a lot of people tend to agree with, is that you always go 33 Fate, right? So 33 Fate should be your number 1 priority because that's going to give you 9 in everything, and that's a huge boon to damage and increases your character overall. First and foremost, I go item drop rate because everything you drop that drops in game is worth something, So drop rate is always going to be better. The levels will come with time, especially since if you're just grinding on this character, it's going to be a big thing. Next, you can go either accuracy if you're bossing or critical rate. I would recommend critical rate when you're grinding. For this one, there are 2 choices really, which is stock or provision. A lot of people like provision for PvP, but since this is just a grinding build, we're going to go with stock. Adrenaline is a no-brainer for after your shift. These other 2 are they're okay at best. And the last and important one is your rune energy, which gives you 9 in all of these trees. Now, the next important tree is going to be your assault tree. And for this, you want to go magic damage for the first one, precision, which is critical hit for the second one, critical hit power. For the third one, you want this damage increase for non-targeting skills, and this works really well with multi-shot. Elementalist, which again works really well with multi-shot and abilities that you're spamming, which you're going to be doing a lot of spamming. And then killer shot, which allows you to do more damage the lower HP they are. Out of these last 3, now these are situational, again, I would highly, highly recommend that you just do accumulative fortune. Now this is going to add 15 damage to all your skills, which, as a lot of your skills are multi-hit, right, you are going to do exponentially more damage, right? Because each arrow that hits here for 80 power or for 80 power is going to have an additional 15 power attacked onto that because of this skill. Highly, highly recommend. The next big goals are trying to get 12 support and 12 control. So the reason why you want this, so this is only one more rune, because remember, we're getting the 9 from 33 Fate. One more rune allows you to get aim bombardment, which increases the critical hit power of all non-targeting skills, which increases your multi-shot, which is huge. It also increases your wind force arrows from your tab. The other skills you take are Barbed Arrow, which increases the damage of all projectiles, Spiked Ammo, which increases the critical hit rate of projectile skills by 10%, and then we already talked about Aim Bombardment. For support, the reason why this one is important is because of the nerf to Lifesteal. You need a Lifesteal mechanic or a heal mechanic if you're not using Wind Trap. Right? The blue Wind Trap is a small heal. So the way you get that is through 12, which is Spitting Blood. Now, I know it's only 50 power, but again, this stacks up with... it doesn't stack up with this, I don't think, actually. But 50 power heal is very good. Now, these are kind of like situational and not that great. But 5 energy recovery, you could use this, or you could use the increased HP recovery during combat. Again, these are situational. For protection, now max HP, since this is PvE and then PvE damage reduction, I do switch this over to boss damage reduction when you do bosses. And if I was PvPing, I'd switch it over to PvP. Other things to do if you were to get 12 blue would be this one. Jungle Law, which allows you to add a barrier. Lastly, Awakening. Now, Awakening, you have really 2 choices. It's either Glass Cannon or this one. And this one increases your movement speed, which is why I use it. However, the first one is also applicable to increase all damage. And then you double up that one. Because as an archer, if you're getting hit, you're doing something wrong. The 12th one, I do energy increase. It really doesn't matter. For this one, if you were to get to 21, I don't really know what I would use. Probably Arrogance, just because I don't get hit a lot. But overall, this is the Mana Tree build that I would recommend starting out. Obviously, this is, again, just a grind build, so I wouldn't put too much emphasis on trying to use something like this in PvP. Now, here's how your grinding rotation is going to work. First, you're going to hit tab, and then you're going to hit 1. And now, you just go in and you dodge and multi-shot around. Now, dodge, multi-shot. So, what your quiver, which is on my 1 key, is doing is it's allowing your arrows to keep up on your back. So you constantly have arrows on your back, right? And you see now my quiver's off. My quiver buff's off. So now I'm still going to be dodging because I'm still generating the arrows through multi-shot. But I'm also going to be dodging less. Oh, now my tab's back up. So I hit tab and then I hit quiver again. And I'm just spamming this. Now, as you get more skill points and stuff, you can add an extra level, right? Like, these are rather easy for me, so I'm not doing it. But if these were harder mobs, I'd be using my Q to get them in there and grouping them up and circling around them. Constantly dodging, using this Gale Dash while I'm using multi-shot. So multi-shot staggers the mobs and keeps them back. As you can see, the stiffen. And then Gale Dash is constantly proccing my arrows. So every time they come out, like, I could just kill by dodging. I don't even, when my quiver's up, I don't even have to attack. My Wind Force arrows do all the work from just dodging. And that's where this stamina recovery is coming in. It's very, very big. And that's basically it. That's just how I've been grinding. Now, again, harder mobs, you'd press T to, debuff them and stuff. Maybe throw down a tornado to keep the enemies back while you're recharging your stamina. And if I have to, I heal with my wind trap. On harder mobs, again, you could use rapid fire, which is just a single target attack that's very strong. But overall, I find that since I'm just grinding, and unless I'm fighting a boss, I find that multi-shot is like ideal. As far as Luminous goes, really this isn't the perfect Luminous for this. It's the one that I have for my other character, so I'm using it. Ideally, I think you'd want to use something like the Arrow Luminous. Increases projectile power, crit rate of all projectiles, increases damage to monsters, and increases critical hit power of all these. That would be the ideal Luminous, but again, I already have a tier 5 Corona, which again, it adds a lot of what I like, but not everything is perfect, right? Like, it's adding physical damage, and I don't do any physical damage. Crit power is okay, crit rate's okay, max weapon attack's good. But overall, that's how I've been playing Archer, and I hope that this helps you out. One last thing I can go over is my rolls and my gear. So natural stamina recovery is really good on boots. As you can see, you can also get projectile, skill, crit rate, crit hit rate, and crit hit damage, I believe. Let's see, critical hit power. Yes, that is correct. For this, you'd probably want projectile, skill, critical hit power, and max weapon attack. For your main hand or your offhand, you'd want max weapon attack and critical hit power. Cooldown reduction is also nice here. For this, you'd want, again, max weapon attack, increased magic power. This is probably the best purple roll that I could get here. For your pants, you would mainly want natural energy recovery and projectile skill power. For your chest, you want natural energy recovery, projectile skill power. And for your helm, it's critical skill power and I guess projectile skill, critical hit power. Anything with projectile is good on any piece, basically. And that's basically my full video. Feel free to hit me up on Twitch, twitch.tv/Saigax, Saigax. I stream pretty much every night, and I've been streaming Elyon pretty much every day. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Peace.